I saw you there, not when the world clapped for your courage, but in the silence when you folded into yourself and wept. You thought no one noticed, but I did. I was there when the pain cracked your soul, when betrayal broke the mirror of your identity, when those who were meant to stay walked away, and love once warmed grew cold and distant. You thought your tears were wasted, but they weren't, because the place where you wept became sacred. It was there that heaven bent low, there that the ground absorbed what your heart could no longer hold, there that I began to build my altar. You see, I do not anoint you where the applause is loudest. I anoint you where the tears run deepest. I shape you not on stages, but in secret, and when the cries of your soul echoed into darkness, I whispered, into that space, you are not forgotten. Your weeping became incense, your lament a holy fragrance. The abandonment you felt from family, the way you were made to carry wounds you didn't cause. I saw it all. When fathers turned their backs, when mothers left their posts, when siblings wounded with words or silence, you bore their absence like a hidden cross. But I was not absent. They did not define your worth, I did. They may have left, but I remained. They may have broken their promises, but I kept mine. And though their absence left holes in your memory, I filled the gaps with grace. Your altar is not built in palaces, but in wood. Not among the many, but in the solitude where only I can reach you. Do you remember the chaos that tried to break your mind? Those long nights when thoughts screamed louder than truth, when lies of worthlessness circled like vultures. You believed. You were forgotten. You believed you failed. You believed you were unlovable. But belief in lies is not stronger than my truth. I called you mine even then. The place of breakdown became a birthplace. The chaos you feared was the stage of creation. In the same way I formed the world from void and darkness, I am forming you. You are not the product of your pain. You are the story of my redemption, to sow when you think of that place. That moment where sorrow became unbearable, remember, that's where I was closest. Every tear that fell carved a space for my glory. Every sigh of despair opened a window for hope. Every broken plea was heard like a melody in heaven. You thought the altar required perfection, but the altar required surrender. I never needed your strength to build something holy. I only needed your honesty, and you were honest when you wept, when you cried in confusion, when you collapsed in exhaustion, when your prayers had no words. Ache, that was your offering, and I received it. Your weeping did not repel me, it drew me near. Because where you break, I build. Where you end, I begin. I want you to know that shame doesn't stay on my altars. Only transformation does. You feared I would turn away if I saw your truth, but it was your truth that turned my gaze toward you. You feared your wounds disqualified you, but your wounds became the doorway. You feared your history made you unworthy, but your history became the ink I write your future with. I know the pain of abandonment. They left you, they didn't understand. Some even judged you, used your vulnerability against you, but they never held your soul. I did. Asterisk, you don't need to carry that anymore. The guilt, the questions, the unspoken grief, lay them down. I'm the father who never left, the healer who never judged, the love that never walked away. Let your altar be a place where shame dies and identity rises. You've tried to forget those moments, those places of sorrow, but I have transformed them, not to remind you of pain, but to remind you of resurrection. Where you cried, I built. Where you bled, I blessed. Where you hid, I hovered. You thought your strength would bring me close, but it was your weakness that invited me in. Do you know what I see when I look at you? Not failure, not too much or not enough. I see a heart I crafted. I see the echo of eternity. And even when you forgot who you were, heaven remembered. You may carry the scars of betrayal, the echo of rejection, but I carry the evidence of your restoration. You may think you're still in the valley, but in my eyes you are already rising, because every altar begins in ashes, and your ashes are not your end. They're my beginning. You are not the one who was forsaken. You are the one I ran toward. You are not too broken to be used. You are perfectly positioned to be restored. So come back to that place. The one where you wept, not to grieve again, but to see the glory growing in the soil of your pain. That place is not just a memory. It's now my dwelling. Your tears baptized the ground. Your honesty sanctified the air. Your surrender welcomed my fire. Now watch. Watch as I bring beauty from those ashes. Watch as I plant joy where sorrow once reigned. Watch as I raise you from forgotten to favored. Because the place you wept has become an altar, and I am there. I saw the rubble you tried to walk through, with trembling steps. I watched the trembling of your hands, not from weakness, but from the weight you were never meant to carry alone. You thought your tears were wasted in the dust, forgotten by heaven, but I gathered every one of them like living seeds planted into my mercy. I did not just see your sorrow. I entered into it where shame chained your voice. I whispered in the silence, "You are still mine." When you believed, the ruins of your family, your name, your history, were too shattered for me to touch. I stepped closer, not with judgment, but with blueprints in my hand. Not to destroy you, but to rebuild you from the ashes you feared would define you forever. You see ruins, I see foundations. You see shame, I see the entry point of glory. You were never meant to carry abandonment as your inheritance. But in the absence of comfort, I became your father. In the silence after betrayal, I became your voice. And when they forgot your name, I carved it in my hands. Yes, they left. Yes, they wounded you. Yes, the chaos tore holes in your soul. But I never turned away. Every scream behind your closed door, I heard it. Every night you buried your face in the pillow so no one would know. I was there. I did not wait for you to be strong. I waited for you to surrender, because surrender is not defeat in my kingdom. It is the first brick of rebuilding. Let me show you what I'm constructing now, child. From the very place you thought I was absent, I'm laying a cornerstone. From the very shame you tried to bury, I'm forging an altar, not of wood and stone but of memory and mercy, of redemption and fire, the kind of altar where others will come and say, "Surely the Lord was here." Even when I didn't see him, the pain you despised will become the oil of your anointing. The tears you thought were signs of weakness, they are becoming rivers of healing for generations. Because I am not rebuilding your life to look like the former. No, I am doing something entirely new. I am making a dwelling where glory can rest. Not a performance, not perfection, but presence. You once thought you had to climb to me, but now I am coming to dwell in you. Do you understand, beloved? The altar where you wept has become the throne room of my compassion. The cracks in your I'm not heart asking became you to be entryways perfect for my spirit. I'm asking you to be and present, what the enemy
to stay with me.
I have
to
crowned
trust
me
with my
as I
name.
restore every torn room of your soul. Some things I will rebuild just as they were, but others I will leave the scars visible, not to remind you of pain, but to remind you that healing has visited your house. Let the world call you broken. I call you rebuilt in glory. Let others forget your name. I will speak it over you again and again. Mine, when you wonder if your purpose still stands. Hear me. Your calling was never voided by your collapse. It was deepened, purified, refined. What was born in that altar of weeping is not small. It is holy. The same ground where you cried out in the night will be the ground where you declare deliverance in the day. The very air that carried your sighs will now carry your song. Do not be afraid of what rises in you now. This is not pride. This is resurrection. I am lifting your head not to expose you, but to restore you. I am putting the pen back in your hand, the cloak back on your shoulders, and I am saying again, come, walk with me. You have purpose still. The altar didn't just receive your sorrow, it awakened my fire. From that sacred place, you will speak with a voice you did not know was yours. Not because of your strength, but because my spirit is upon you. You will walk into rooms that once made you feel small, and you will carry my authority. You will touch wounds in others that mirror the ones I've already healed in you. And you will say, not with theory, but with tears, "He met me there, and he will meet you too." I'm not giving you back what was stolen. I'm giving you what could only be born from loss. This is not about revenge. It's about redemption. Not about rising above them, but about lifting others from where you once lay. Yes, the place where you wept. It has become an altar, but now it is also becoming a wellspring. A launching place, a sanctuary not just for you but for the broken, who thought they were beyond my reach. You carry fire now, not a fire of anger or vengeance, but of presence, of compassion, of knowing what it feels like to be forgotten. So you remember those others ignore, knowing what it feels like to be ashamed. So you carry grace like a robe, knowing what it feels like to be unloved. So you love without condition. This is what the altar gave you, a ministry not of performance, but of power. Power born not of position, but of presence. Stay with me, child. Let me continue the work. Let me build what no man can dismantle. Let me write in you the story others said could never be told again, and when they ask what changed you, just tell them, the place where I wept became the place where he walked in. You do not yet comprehend the magnitude of what I have begun in you, because I did not just repair what was broken, I transformed the very meaning of your suffering. Where others saw only weakness, I planted glory. Where shame once reigned, my spirit has taken residence. You have become sacred ground. This is why the weeping could not be in vain. This is why I lingered with you in the shadows, because the place you called failure, I called holy. The altar was never about sacrifice alone, it was always about meeting. a collision of the divine and the desperate, a covenant born from ashes, and now, my child, the fragrance of your surrender rises like incense. It has reached the heavens, not because your suffering was needed, but because your surrender invited me in. You let me touch the parts you hid. You let me enter the locked places no one else knew existed. You allowed the trembling honesty of your soul to become the place I could inhabit, and now you carry me. That this is the revelation many miss. I do not dwell in the pristine, one dwell in the surrendered. It is not perfection that draws me near, but hunger, not control, but desperation, not pride, but open hands. And your hands, once clenched in fear, are now open in worship. Do you not see it? This is not just your healing, this is your commissioning. But altar you wept upon, it is not merely a memory, it is now a gate, a portal between the seen and unseen, a sacred threshold where heaven touches earth through you. You thought the pain was the ending, but I declare it was the threshold, a doorway into the holy dot. And what now flows from your life is not just recovery, but revelation. Carry mere words, you carry encounters. You do not speak from knowledge, you speak from fire, because the one who met you in your midnight walks with you into the daylight. And your story, yes, your very life is now a testimony of resurrected glory. I have not restored you to blend in, I have rebuilt you to shine. I have formed in you a weight of glory that will not be shaken by man's opinions, nor moved by the winds of culture. You carry my name now, and where you step, the ground shifts. What you speak I will breathe upon, what you touch in my name I will restore. This is what you were born for. This is what the altar forged in you. Do not fear the cost. Do not look back with regret. What I gave you in the secret place will sustain you in the open, and those who once saw you fall will now witness your rising, not in pride, but in power, in performance, but in purpose. And to the lost, to the abandoned, to the ones weeping in the same silence you once knew, you will become a sign, a living altar. They will say, if he met her, if he lifted him, maybe he has not forgotten me. This is the glory I have wrapped around your story, not just that you survived, but that my spirit lives and breathes through you now. You are no longer a victim of your past. You are a vessel of my presence. You are not a statistic of abandonment. You are a son, a daughter marked by eternal love. The chaos you came through, it could not stop you, because I was in the fire with you. The wounds they gave you, they do not disqualify you. They are now the very places my light shines through. Yes, the cracks still remain, but through them, my glory pours out. You thought the altar was for mourning, but now it becomes a place of miracles, not just in your life, but in the lives of those I will bring to you. You will not need to strive, you will not need to force it, just remain in me. Just let your yes remain on the altar. Let your obedience speak louder than your fear, and watch how I take what was shattered, and make it shine. Watch how I turn former pain into rivers of purpose. Watch how the same eyes that once wept in secret will soon witness deliverance in the open. I do not lie. I do not abandon. I do not forget the soil watered by tears. For every tear you sowed in pain, a harvest of mercy will rise. For every night you wondered if I was still near, you will walk in days filled with my glory. You are not left behind. You are not too far gone. You are not overlooked. You are being prepared. Go forth not in fear but in fire, not in doubt, but in destiny. Because the altar where you wept has become the platform where my presence rests, and you, beloved, are my dwelling place. You have come far, my beloved, but do not think the altar is behind you. It walks with you now. You carry it not as a memory, but as a living flame, an active covenant that still burns within. This is where many stop. They embrace healing but forget their commission. They rejoice in the restoration but delay the calling, but not you, because you know, deep within your soul, that what I rebuilt in you was not just for you. That pain was not wasted. The sorrow you offered me, the silence where you waited for my voice, the crushed prayers spoken in exhaustion, I heard every one, and I answered, not always with escape, not always with the solution you expected, but always with myself, and that is what changed everything. You now carry something sacred, a mark of divine transaction, an invisible seal that hell recognizes, that heaven honors, and that earth will feel. For what rises from true surrender is not just recovery, it is authority, and you now walk in the authority of the altar. This is why your words will pierce atmospheres, why your presence will unsettle darkness, why those who encounter you will feel the weight of eternity though you speak in whispers. You are no longer just someone who wept, you are someone who was found in weeping. And in that finding, I rewrote your name. No longer forgotten, longer wounded, no longer ashamed. You are now called, dwelling place of the Most High. bearer of the oil of intimacy, restorer of paths, my instrument of mercy. Yes, the world sees only scars, but I see the blueprint I carved in fire. I see what I deposited when you said yes in the pain. And now, those deposits begin to flow. I have not called you to echo others. I have called you to release what we forged in secret. What I gave you in the silence, others will drink in the noise. What I showed you in the valley will guide many on their mountaintop. You are a signpost now, a holy contradiction. A once broken vessel now filled with eternal light, and your altar, it has become a gate for others. Do you feel it? The ones I'm sending, they are drawn not to your perfection, but to your presence, because it carries mine. They will come without words. Their eyes will hold the same ache yours once held, and you will know, because you've been there. You'll recognize the look of someone who stood on the edge, someone who's thought their story ended in the ruins. But you will smile, not because their pain is small, but because you've seen what I can do when ashes meet my breath. And when they tell you they feel unworthy, you will not try to convince them otherwise. You will just point to the altar. You'll say, "This is where I met him, not when I had it all together, but when I had nothing left." And I will honor those moments. I will rush in with the same spirit that met you in your collapse. You will not just speak revival, you will release it, because you are it. You are a living revival. Not a sermon, but a sanctuary. Not a platform, but a portal. This is the mystery of my ways. I build my dwelling not in palaces, but in people who have been crushed and still chose to love me. The kind of love that costs something, the kind of worship that bleeds, the kind of faith that says, even if he does not, I will not bow to another. And you, beloved, you have become that kind of worshipper. So now walk boldly, not in pride ever, but in confidence, for I have placed a mantle upon you woven from intimacy, saturated in the oil of suffering, glorious in my sight. No demon can strip it, no man can cancel it, no past can disqualify it, because it was given in the fire, and the fire sealed it. The altar has not limited you, it has launched you, and the cries that once echoed in isolation have now become songs of deliverance. Can you hear it? Your voice, once trembling in weakness, now carries the sound of heaven. You are not mimicking others, you are speaking from encounter. And when you speak, realms shift. When you weep, rivers flow. When you love the unlovable, it is I who reach through your hands, because I am not just with you, I inhabit you. You are my resting place, my holy habitation, my altar in motion. And everywhere you go, I go to. You carry healing in your footsteps, hope in your shadow, fire in your breath. Do not shrink back. Do not question if this is truly your portion. Remember, I chose you when no one else saw you. I picked you from the ashes. I crowned you in the very place you crawled, and I called it holy. You are holy not because you are perfect. You are holy because you are mine. And that changes everything. So build with me now. Not with brick and mortar, but with tears turned to testimonies, with truth carved in hidden nights, with compassion that sees beneath the surface, with joy that makes no sense to the world. You are not rebuilding a reputation, you are establishing a legacy. One that eternity will remember, one that carries the fragrance of the altar, one that never forgets where the glory came from. Yes, my child, we are not finished yet, but oh, how far we've come. You were weeping on the ground, now you walk as one who has seen heaven. You were crawling through shame, now you stand as a vessel of fire. You were forgotten by many, but you were found by me. And because you let me in, the altar lives on. Through every step you take, through every soul you touch, through every act of love you offer, you are the altar, you are the fragrance. You are the miracle, now walk in it. Do you remember the days when you asked me, why does it hurt this much? Why is the fire so relentless? Why does my healing seem to delay while others move forward? Now, beloved, look again. The pain became the gateway. The fire was not your prison, it was the forge. And what emerged from that holy fire was not a fragile survivor, but a vessel made of gold. You see now, don't you? The place of your deepest breaking is the place from which I now pour my spirit. That ground once soaked in silent tears has become sacred territory. And because you let me sanctify your sorrow, it now sanctifies others. There is glory moving through your scars, not because pain itself is power, but because you placed it in my hands. You didn't worship the wound, you worshipped me in the wound. And I turned your ashes into an anointing that the world cannot understand and hell cannot duplicate. You are no longer the only one weeping. Now others weep in my presence through you. They hear my voice in your tone. They feel my mercy in your embrace. They sense my holiness in your stillness, and they come close. not to admire you, but because they feel safe in the glory that surrounds you. You have become a lighthouse, a spiritual landmark on the sea of human despair, and those drowning in secret storms are drawn to the quiet fire that burns in you. They don't need you to preach 1,000 sermons. They need you to be what you are now, a flame that never went out. That's why I never allowed your light to die, even when you wanted to quit, even when darkness sat heavy in your lungs, and silence felt louder than truth. I kept your fire alive, because I knew one day, someone would need to see that light from their place of near drowning. And now they are coming. They're coming not because you're impressive. They're coming because you stayed. You didn't run from the altar. You let me finish what I started. And now, from your life flows oil that heals. This is the multiplication of my glory. One broken heart offered in truth becomes a wellspring for nations. One surrendered soul becomes a dwelling for heaven on earth. And that's who you are now. You are not just healed. You are holy. You are not just surviving. You are seated in heavenly places. You are not just walking forward. You are carrying eternity in your steps. Every time you chose me over the easy path, heaven was watching. And now, all that was sown in pain is rising in power. You sowed in the night. Now you reap in the light. You gave me the little left in your hands. Now I pour rivers from your very being. You said yes when it felt like you had nothing else. Now that yes echoes through generations. You thought your altar was an end, but it became a beginning, and I'm not done. Because what I do through you now will go far beyond what you can see. Your faith, born in crushing, has opened gates that will never close. Your obedience, rooted in tears, has unlocked healing for others you will never meet. Your hunger, when no one was watching, has become a feast for the weary, and your intercession, our beloved. Your secret prayers have become thunder in the spirit realm. You may never hear the full sound of their impact in this life, but heaven has already recorded every cry, every whisper, every declaration spoken in faith when everything in you wanted to give up. I remember them all. I still walk in the smoke of those offerings. And now, I give you something rare, a harvest in the same place you once bled. I told you I do not waste pain, but now you will see that I also do not waste faith. You trusted me when I was silent. Now you will walk with me in the open. I will lead you into places where others see only ruins, and you will see revival. You will speak life where others feel death. You will laugh in places where you once wept. Why? Because the altar made you unshakable. Not unglitch, no, but immovable in me. You have been branded by my fire. You have loved me more than comfort. You have honored me more than applause. You have chosen me more than your own understanding. And now, I pour my glory in return. You are my lighthouse, my trumpet, my intercessor in motion, and I will use you not to perform but to awaken, for there are many who sleep, but your life will stir them, not because of your strength, but because they will feel the presence of the one who dwells in your surrendered soul. They will ask you, what is it about you? And you will answer, it's not about me, it's about the one who never left me. Then their eyes will open, their walls will fall, and their altars will rise, and what I did for you, I will do again through you. This is multiplication, this is legacy, this is kingdom, and it all began in the place where you wept, that place despised by your enemies, misunderstood by those closest to you, and rejected by your own fears, has become the platform of my glory. So walk, beloved, not as someone who merely recovered, but as one who was resurrected. Walk with the sound of heaven in your steps. Speak with the fragrance of eternity in your voice. Love with the weight of divine compassion in your heart. For you are mine, and I am not done multiplying my glory through you. From the altar to the nations, from weeping to wonder, from ashes to abundance. This is the story I'm writing through you, and every word drips with holy oil. You made your altar with tears, not with stone, not with silver or fame, but with your honesty, your ache, your waiting. And I came. I always come where I am truly invited. I made that place my home, because you let me in with nothing to prove, just a heart willing to be held, even in silence. You didn't worship me because you understood. You worshipped me because you trusted, even when everything fell apart. Even when the night refused to break, you stayed. And so did I. But now, beloved, lift your eyes, because the altar has become a throne room. Yes, what began in weeping now ends in glory. For I have not only rebuilt you, I have enthroned myself in your heart. You carry my presence like a priest who walks through fire yet smells of heaven. You are not just redeemed, you are crowned with wisdom that cannot be taught, crowned with purity that came through the furnace, crowned with grace that cost you everything but gave you more than you lost. This is your inheritance, not only survival, not even just joy, but union. Union with me, no veil, no distance, no performance, just abiding. Do you feel it? You and I are one now. Not in theology, but in breath, because you let me into the most sacred rooms, the ones stained with grief, walled with fear, marked by loss, and I did not condemn you there. I did not ask for your perfection, I only asked for your surrender, and you gave it, not in strength, but in weakness. And now, because of that offering, you will walk in heaven's reward. No, not reward like the world imagines, but the kind the angels marvel at. You will sit with me in secret places. You will hear my whisper before it reaches the crowd. You will know my heart in a way that only the broken become bold enough to ask for, because I trust you now. Yes, I trust you. I trust you not to misuse the fire. I trust you to carry my name and not your own. I trust you to pour out what cost you everything without selling it for applause. You are my sanctuary. Your wounds have become my windows. Your life has become a melody of mercy. And for every moment you said yes, in private, I now make you a public display of my redemption. But even that is not the greatest reward. The greatest reward is me with you, me in you, me never leaving again, me rising with you in the night watch, me sitting with you when no one else understands, me rejoicing when you choose stillness over striving, me holding your heart like treasure. You didn't ask for fame, you asked for me, and now you have me. This is your crown, this is your inheritance, and this is my joy, to dwell with you where the altar burned. You are not forgotten, you are sealed. When the world forgets your name, I will remember it forever, for it is carved in the walls of our altar. You carry eternity in your voice now. You echo heaven in your touch. You remind hell that it failed. And when others ask you how you survived, you will smile and say only this: I didn't survive, I surrendered. Then they too will kneel, and the altar will grow. From one life 1,000 are awakened. From one cry a generation is healed. This is the harvest. This is the glory that comes from loving me more than comfort, more than understanding, more than your own timeline. And now, it is time to rise, not as one escaping pain, but as one reborn. You will walk from this altar, not empty, but filled with fire, not trembling, but crowned with peace. And wherever you go, the fragrance of surrender will follow you. Yes, even in eternity, for what you gave me here will shine forever there. There are thrones being prepared. There are robes already woven. There are rewards waiting for those who chose me when everything else told them to let go. And you, beloved, you are one of them. Your altar became a gate. And now all of heaven celebrates what began with nothing but brokenness and trust. This is the story that never ends. This is the love that never fails. This is the place where you wept. And I came, and I will never leave you, for I am the God who turns tears into thrones, ashes into crowns, sorrow into oil, and altars into homes. Well done, beloved. You did not give me your perfection. You gave me your heart, and I gave you all of me in return. Now rise, and walk with me forever.